Sam from Road Trail Run here. We're going to take a look at the Nike Zoom Pegasus 36 and compare it to the Pegasus 35 and the Vomero 14. So the Pegasus 36 is a 28 millimeter heel, 18 millimeter forefoot, so it's a 10 millimeter drop shoe, kind of conventional in that respect. It's $120. What's very interesting is it actually loses about 0.4 ounces or 12 grams, so it now checks in just under 9 ounces, and that really puts it into a somewhat lighter category. It still has, it said, the identical Cushion with the full Zoom Air unit that we was inaugurated with the 35. So how did Nike reduce the weight of the shoe? Well, changes to the upper. And what they did, and I'm going to move them together here so we can see, is starting at the rear, they removed this plasticized overlay. There's none there on the 36. Also, all the collars are thinned. You can see here how much thinner they are. Padding's still adequate. The effect is you've got a somewhat more comfortable fit in the 36, just maybe a touch less secure. In fact, today on my run, my 35s came untied and I didn't even notice it. It's quite a snug, low fit. The other thing that's changed is the flywire cords are now longer. They come out further, so they go in further down on the shoe than in the 35. And what this translates into is somewhat more volume in the fit, so I definitely noticed that. I also noticed the toe box is very similar in terms of volume, but a little bit more pointy. So I found them a little longer in kind of effect compared to the 35, but the fit is very good. Overall, my narrower right foot was a touch loose in them, whereas it fit just about perfectly in the 35, and my wider left foot fit just super in the 36 and was quite snug in the 35. So on the run, well, they're very, very similar. There's supposed to be no changes to the midsole, but I did find that the 36 is a little bit more flexible than the 35, and it also seemed to be just a very slight touch softer and bouncier when I ran one on each foot. So maybe also a little thinner feeling in the forefoot, but just definitely a touch softer, very, very small amount softer. Now, if we're going to compare to the Vomero 14, it really has a very similar upper, same kind of mesh as far as I can tell. The flywire cords go in even a bit deeper, further down on the shoe than in our Pegasus, so this is a yet roomier fit. I really like the sculpted, contoured, molded Achilles collar here. It's really secure. There's definitely a wider volume toe box. You can really see the width. It's probably a different last. As far as the tongues, the Vomero has a slightly padded tongue, whereas the Pegasus 36 has an unpadded tongue. Could use a little bit more padding. It's asymmetrical over that tendon that often can be a problem, and that's a big difference here at the tongue compared to the 35. Look how puffy it was. It's also attached very high up in the shoe, whereas over here in the 36 it's attached further down. So the effect of that is a much more comfortable fit in here, and over here really, I mean, I was able to run without even knowing it with the 35 not even laced up. So it's quite snug so you have to be very careful not to over tighten either of them really, because here our laces are a little thinner and softer than over in the 35. I found that initially I laced them too tight. Neither of these shoes should be laced very tightly. So in the Nike line. The Pegasus and the Vomero, back to the Vomero. The Vomero weighs 10 ounces versus a little bit under 9, so there's a full ounce heavier. And most of that, I think, comes at the rear of the shoe. If we look here, we see a wider platform on the ground for the Vomero, plus the sidewalls that come up. Now, I really like the ride of the Vomero because it's very stable. I find it more cushioned with the React because it has React foam versus the Cushalon here. It's a little, some have said, and I would tend to agree, it's a little off balance towards the rear if you're running slowly. It is a little more flexible, I think, than our Pegasus. And it really is a shoe that, even though its stack height is actually a millimeter lower front and back, is a little bit more comfortable long run shoe for me. Both have fairly thin feeling forefoots. Another element, the outsole, no changes between the 35 and the 36 Pegasus, but you see the big deep decoupling groove here, much more substantial than in the Pegasus, and for me this allows it to really transition even a bit snappier than the Pegasus. So we're going to have a full multi-tester review soon of the Zoom Pegasus, Nike Zoom Pegasus 36. It's a workhorse trainer. It's on number 36. I would have to say the ride is a little bit old-fashioned, but the upper is thoroughly modern. So please stay tuned to Road Trail Run. Thank you for watching.